I can't question some of the effort out there today, and no doubt we're out in our feet in the last quarter on a 4-day break, but it's pointless having effort and then lack of composure. You know, I was really proud of some of our, young fellas that came in, but there was also some players that have been down, and so there'll be opportunities next Friday night.
Rough weekend at the office for the Giants. They look improbable now for the finals, Matthew Lloyd. Your take on where to here for Leon's Giants?
I suppose listening to Leon there on the weekend, Hutchie, it made me think, why can't he get the best out of his players? So I could sense, obviously, the frustration was enough to drop your captain, Stephen Coniglio, and we look forward to chatting about that because I don't have any big issue with that. A lot of people think it's wrong to drop your captain, but I think the form he was in, I didn't mind it. In regards to the next player, there'll be someone else most likely, but I just think from Leon's case, he's got to ask himself the hard questions. Why, when I've got such a star-studded team, and in particular a star-studded midfield, can't I get them to fire this year? And too many players have been down. Whitfield may push for the All-Australian team, but I can't see too many others. Even his best and fairest win at Taranto last year. Too many players are off, Hutchie, for him not to ask questions of himself and why they're performing the way they are.
The leadership issue is huge, both from the coach, from everyone, really, the president down. And you have to examine leadership when the team enters a season premiership favourite or top 4 favourite and maybe fail to make the finals. The problems emerged, I reckon, when we found out the truth behind the Stephen Coniglio captaincy. So Stephen Coniglio talked about being captain last year. He didn't want to share it last year. And then this year, he got the captaincy on his own because he made it clear that he did not believe, I wrote about this in March, he did not believe in joint captaincies anymore at a club where you'd have to say it's been pretty successful from the first day, really, when it was shared by 3, and then for many years with Phil Davis and Callum Ward. Phil Davis was... I think he was disappointed to lose the captaincy, but he chose to put a good face on and do the right thing. But here's a player who it's not a player vote this year for the first time. It was really the CEO's decision, I think, to make Stephen Coniglio captain. A 7-year deal, and then 2 weeks before the end of the season, you drop him.
CEO's decision, not the coach's.
I think the CEO was the one who wanted Stephen Coniglio to be captain and believed he deserved the right to captain on his own. And I thought it was insulting to Phil Davis. And I'm not saying this is in any way linked, but I think it's really interesting that Phil Davis left the hub last week. I mean, I know he's gone off to have some minor surgery, but he didn't necessarily have to have it back in Sydney. And I'm sure he could have waited a week or 2 to see how their end of home and away was going to unfold.
History will say that they got the transition of the captaincy wrong. Coniglio's a wonderful guy and he'll rebound from it, but two things. One, he hasn't stood up to the captaincy, that's clear. And 2 is they got caught in the sport of his extension as opposed to the value and right worth.
7 years in the context of COVID, it just seems extraordinary. But interestingly, the other contract, which has been controversial, which is the coach's contract, I'm talking to people at the AFL and other clubs. They reckon every recipient club has to obviously submit the coach's contract. And I know there was a bit of eyebrow raising when Dave Matthews, the club re-signed Dave and didn't put it to the AFL. Every contract the AFL tells me has a 6-month out clause. And that's Stuart Dew, it's Chris Fagan, I would imagine it's Brett Ratton, every club who is in major debt and is supported by the AFL. So I don't think the AFL will have to pay out Leon Cameron if something did go horribly wrong. And Dave Matthews scoffed at us on Saturday and almost said it was a blood sport, didn't he, in going after Leon? But you have to ask the questions now.
Kane, Coniglio's footy, what does he need to do? And it looks like, is he carrying an injury? He's been kicking on the other foot all year. What's the story, do you think?
I think he's got to get back to what made him a really effective midfielder. He started playing the run-with role and he was really hard-nosed defensively. He's into a shocking habit, Hutchie, of kicking on his left foot when he doesn't need to. You can have a look at his kicking efficiency there, career low. He can easily be kicking on his preferred foot. For whatever reason, he's fallen in love with his left. Now, he's not Sam Mitchell. You see this one here. Why that goes on your left foot when you're not a great non-preferred kick is interesting to me. So I wouldn't have dropped him. I would have sent him to the opposition's best player, be that Oliver or Petracca, because you've got De Boer playing a role across half forward. He's ineffective. Send Coniglio back with that run with role and get him back to what made him such an effective midfielder early days.
It's hard to believe these words could come out of your mouth, and this has been my point on the squandering of the window, but they've got some list problems all of a sudden. Their last couple of
Huge list problems.
Their last couple of drafts haven't been good. They've got some real question marks on recent draftees. Their ruck situation is a debacle. They need to get a ruckman and get one fast. The stopgap, Simpson, Jacobs and the retirement reversal of Mumford have all failed and failed dismally. And no disrespect to any of those guys, but they're at the wrong end of their careers. And they have hung on to players, in my opinion, 1 year too long, Matthew. I'm interested in your thoughts on this. You can make an argument that all 5 of these have been 1 year too long. For me, Johnson last year didn't go well. Griffin ran out of steam. Delio didn't get much out of. And he sure struggled this year, and it was a polarising decision whether to continue with him or not. So it can bite you quick, can't it?
Yeah, it can. And it's a good discussion point, actually, and I agree with you on those points. And that's the problem that they've got, the GWS Giants. They're probably... emotionally, they hang on to players who have gone there, like probably a Heath Shaw, who I thought maybe went on a year too long. But also they have to give long contracts to players to keep them. So I just feel that even though they made a grand final last year, you don't see people bleed for the Giants jumper at this stage. Players come, players go. It's just a revolving door. No one ever really gets attached to playing for that club, and that's Leon's biggest challenge. And they've played that way this year to me. They don't seem like they're a group desperate to fight for the Giants jumper.
But how does he come back with the relationship with his captain? I'm shocked that you're not more shocked by that. I just can't believe you'd do that to your captain, whatever you thought.
You ask around and you speak around, and kicking's one thing, but lack of work rate is another.
You never got over that, though. You had a challenging relationship with Matthew Knights because you were played in a position you didn't like.
Nothing to do with that.
Well, part of it.
No, nothing to do with it.
If you'd been dropped, though, you'd never have come back from that.
Oh, no, more the embarrassment.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
He would be embarrassed, wouldn't he?
Oh, he would be hugely embarrassed. But
surely there are ways to get you to
spot?
have a better attitude than humiliate him in front of the entire footy community. I just think it's really hard to come back from it.
Yeah, but there's been others like Brendan Goddard, Stephen Milne. I think they were dropped.
Not captains.
What's that? Doesn't matter. I'm still saying they were.
But you're voted leader of that place.
It's been 22 years, Matthew, since it's happened.
Yeah, I know. But all I'm saying is you're saying it was a wrong choice for him to be captain. But does that mean suddenly...
No, not the wrong choice as captain. I was surprised he wouldn't share the captaincy.